If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. What happened to Grandpa on The Waltons? If you were watching The Waltons when it originally aired back in the 70s, you probably remember hearing the news that Will Geer, the man who played Grandpa Zebulon Walton, had died. Will passed away from respiratory failure on April 22, 1978, shortly after filming season 6 of The Waltons. Will's final episode of the show featured Grandpa reuniting with Grandma Esther, Ellen Corby, who played Grandma, had been absent for season 6 of the show due to suffering a stroke. The showrunners decided to write Will's death into the show rather than replacing the actor who played Grandpa. In the first episode of season 7, each family member pays their respects to Grandpa Zebulon as they stand around his grave. Grandma Esther had the most heart-wrenching line of all, saying, "Old man, you live in all of us." Will Geer, born William Ogg Geer, March 9, 1902 to April 22, 1978, was an American actor, musician, and social activist, who was active in labor organizing and other movements in New York and Southern California in the 1930s and 1940s. In California he befriended rising singer Woody Guthrie. They both lived in New York for a time in the 1940s. He was blacklisted in the 1950s by Hollywood after refusing, in testimony before Congress, to name persons who had joined the Communist Party. Geer was blacklisted in the early 1950s for refusing to testify before the House Committee on Un-American Activities. As a result, he appeared in very few films over the next decade. Among them was Salt of the Earth, 1954, which starred and was produced, directed, and written by blacklisted Hollywood personnel. It told the story of a miners' strike in New Mexico from a pro-union standpoint. The film was denounced as subversive, and faced difficulties in its production and distribution as a consequence. He maintained a garden at his vacation house, called Geer Gore Gardens, in Nichols, Connecticut. He visited often and attended the local 4th of July fireworks celebrations, sometimes wearing a black top hat or straw hat and always his trademark denim overalls with only one suspender hooked. He also had a small vacation house in Solana Beach, California, where his front and backyards were cultivated as vegetable gardens rather than lawns. In his later years, he was well known for his role as the grandfather figure Zebulon Walton in the TV series The Waltons until his death. In 1972, he was cast as Zebulon Walton, the family patriarch on The Waltons, a role he took over from Edgar Bergen, who played the character in the TV movie upon which the series was based. He won an Emmy for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Drama Series for The Waltons in 1975. When he died, shortly after completing the 6th season of The Waltons, the death of his character was written into the show's script. His final episode, the last episode of the 1977 to 1978 season, depicted his being reunited with his on-screen wife Esther, played by Ellen Corby. She had been absent for the entire season, due to a stroke. His character was mourned on screen during the first episode of the 1978 to 1979 season, titled The Empty Nest, as he was dying on April 22, 1978, of respiratory failure at the age of 76. His family sang Woody Guthrie's This Land Is Your Land and recited poems by Robert Frost at his deathbed. His remains were cremated. His ashes are buried at the Theatricum Botanicum in the Shakespeare Garden in Topanga Canyon, California.